You guys can't see it, but a single tear is currently running down my cheek. When the trailer for Season 3 of One Punch Man came out, I was ecstatic. The animation didn't look like Season 1 quality, but you know what? Post-production will fix that, right? Well, somehow the trailer ended up being better than the finished product. How is that even possible? I don't know. So last week, the 6th episode of the season was released, and it was easily the worst one yet. And that's after 5 weeks of clowning on the previous episodes. Any sort of copium that's being inhaled is now completely gone. The parts of characters were cropped out of the frame. The entire episode is just 20 minutes of talking with those god-awful neon colors. Everything about episode 6 is a disaster with 0 redeemable qualities. As I'm recording this, the 6th episode of One Punch Man Season 3 has an IMDb rating of 1.5. To put this into perspective, that's worse than any episode from the 8th season of Game of Thrones, the final episode of The Promised Neverland, and any episode from Velma. Fucking Velma. This places it as the 7th lowest rated TV episode of all time, and its only trivia fact being this is the lowest rated episode of a popular anime ever. So the recent episode, episode 7, just came out, and guess what? It's still shit. While not as bad as the previous episode, it's still incredibly disappointing. Like many men out there, I believe the toned athlete physique with a bit of muscle on a female is peak character designing. We all imagine getting squashed by sweaty anime girl thighs, so I was extremely excited to see Mizuki in action. After grabbing my tissue box and lotion and jumping in the air shouting yippee, I was getting ready for an enjoyable wank session, but what do we get instead? Extra body parts. Yeah, for some reason the animators gave Mizuki an extra finger and a third boob. Remember the disproportionate body placements in Season 2 that made the characters look wonky? Well, they're back once again. When we're not looking at the colors red, blue, and purple, we have art that lacks detail and still has little movement. And of course, we can't forget the overuse of speedline backgrounds to compensate for the lack of movement in action scenes. It's like 7 Deadly Sins all over again, except it's happening to a franchise people actually like. So one of the animators of Season 3, Takashi Hashimoto, who's considered a legend within the animation field, has actually spoken out against the hate towards One Punch Man. Mind you, this guy has worked on projects such as Dragon Ball Super Broly, One Piece films, and Ghost in the Shell. Actually, well-animated products, so I'm not denying he's an expert in what he does, but his attitude towards criticism just feels like he's telling viewers to lower their standards even more and accept that the rest of the season's gonna be shit. In Hashimoto's response, he states, regarding One Punch Man, the criticisms, or rather the sheer volume of criticism from people watching illegally overseas, are overwhelming. The production team probably feels a lot of pain because of it. Everyone shares the same feeling. Nobody sets out to make a bad product, yet we get criticized for the smallest details. Where is our motivation supposed to go? I'll be blunt. In the next few weeks, something we poured our hearts and souls into will be aired. If people call it crap or a paper play, then so be it. But we pushed ourselves to the very limit. Please think about the creators behind the screen. We aren't doing this as volunteers, this is everyone's job. The more you bully us, the more the staff will disappear. Guaranteed. Now, me personally, I'm watching this season through Disney Plus because I'm a dirty shill for Star Wars and will consume everything that franchise produces, good or bad. That said, as someone who is in a sense paying for this product, I do expect it to fucking deliver, especially after waiting 6 years. Like, obviously, if there's anyone sending death threats to the animation team, then yeah, those people are freaks, but I'm sorry, a season this bad deserves to get criticized heavily. People are not nitpicking when we're pointing out the basic fundamentals of what makes a good animated show not being met, like failing to render an entire character design, spending 30 seconds on a frame panning in one direction while characters talk, extra fingers, the art style looking very cartoonish and downgraded compared to the original source material, music cuts that feel very out of place, and many more. Even if you want to pretend these are all nitpicks, well, the amount of smaller issues piling up should be enough to at least criticize. I'm not denying that animation is extremely difficult, but I'm also not going to lie to myself. Watching Season 3 is the equivalent of changing a poopy diaper filled with liquid diarrhea. and that's just the truth. Being a One Punch Man fan right now isn't all bad, unless you're an anime-only watcher. If you are someone who refuses to read the manga, please do yourself a favor and drop that restriction you have placed upon yourself, because the manga and even the webcomic are both actually going very strong right now. Now, between the manga and the webcomic, I would say the manga definitely looks better, but in many ways the webcomic is written better, because the webcomic actually stays closer to the theme of One Punch Man, while the manga version kind of deviates away from the message and the theme during the Monster Association arc, at least in the second half. But if you can't get past the art of the webcomic, then the manga is still a decent substitute. It's not bad, but I do wish the author 1 had his illustrator Murata just recreate his original story. Thankfully, the manga seems to be going to its roots of following the webcomic's plot verbatim. My Mask had an amazing story arc in the webcomic, and all the manga had to do was just adapt from the webcomic, and that's probably why One Punch Man fans are starting to like the manga again. We even have some cool additions, like more characterization for Metal Bat, which is awesome because he's one of my favorite characters in the series. And by switching from the anime to the manga, you'd also be coming at a time when the story doesn't have multiple redraws. The ninja arc, or I should say arcs, might be the lowest point for the One Punch Man community, you know, besides this abomination. So yeah, even though it's disappointing we'll never see a season as spectacular as the first, at least we have the manga and webcomic to come back to.